Okay, good morning to Biology Form 4 student. So today we will continue chapter 3, okay, Bio Form 4 chapter 3 for another subtopic 3.3 and 3.4. Movement of substance across a plasma membrane and movement of substance across a plasma membrane and its application. Okay? So in Proverbs 12 verse 24, work hard and become a leader. Be lazy and never succeed. Okay, Proverbs 12 verse 24. So we will continue the 3.3 subtopic. So today we will learn about the movements of substance across the plasma membrane in living organism and also its application in our daily life. Okay, so we have two types of movement of substance across the plasma membrane. Okay, so the first one is active transport and the second one is passive transport. Okay, so we go to passive transport here. Passive transport occurs during gases exchange, okay, between alveolus and our blood capillary through simple diffusion process. Okay, another example, passive transport also occur during reabsorptions of water occurs by osmosis. So you already learn about what is osmosis, right? It's only involve water, okay, through the renal tubules in our kidney, and also during absorptions of water by a plant root hair cell by osmosis in plant. Okay, and then also during absorptions of fructose molecules in the villus. Villus ini di kita punya usus kecil lah. Villus is in our small intestine. Okay, using facilitated diffusion. While active transport in organism occurs during absorptions of glucose and amino acid in villus. Okay, sebab glucose and amino acid dia tidak boleh pass through kita punya plasma membrane by simple diffusion only. So that's why this one is under active transport. Okay, this next one example is reabsorptions of glucose through the renal tubule in the kidney. Okay, and then transport of sucrose also from leaf to phloem tissue in plants, and absorptions of mineral ions by a plant root hair cell. Okay, so this is figure 3.12. Gases exchange at alveolus occur by simple diffusion. Okay, ini adalah masa kita bernafas kan, pernafasan alveolus di dalam kita punya lungs. Okay, so the air movement in, air movement out here. Okay, so this one is our blood capillary. Okay, ini kita punya blood capillary. So yang red one ini oxygenated blood, meaning oxygenated blood meaning adalah yang darah teroksigen, maksudnya yang mengangkut oksigen. Okay, manakala yang warna biru ini adalah deoxygenated blood, meaning darah yang without oxygen. Okay, without oxygen, dia sudah pass to oxygen dia di the whole cell of our body. Alright, so here is our blood capillary. So oxygen molecule diffuse from the alveolus into the blood capillary. Okay, this is our alveolus. Kita bernafas. So bila kita bernafas di sini, udara akan masuk ke dalam paru-paru, kemudian di dalam alveolus kita. So sekarang oksigen daripada alveolus itu akan masuk ke dalam masuk ke dalam blood capillary untuk diangkut oleh kita punya red blood cell. Okay? Manakala carbon dioxide itu akan diffuse daripada kita punya blood capillary, okay, and then dia akan diffuse to the alveolus, okay. Lepas tu dia keluar, kita akan hembus dia. Okay, ini adalah semasa kita menghembus nafas. Okay, so remember, the movement of the gas is according to their concentration gradient. Okay, maksudnya oksigen di alveolus dia punya concentration gradient tinggi. So that's why dia akan move through simple diffusion. Okay, simple diffusion dia akan masuk pergi blood capillary. So darah itu akan angkut oksigen itu ke seluruh badan kita. Okay, manakala carbon dioxide di kita punya this one blood capillary itu dia punya concentration tinggi. So bila concentration dia tinggi, dia akan moves to the alveolus lah, according to their concentration gradient. Okay, from high concentration to low concentration gradient. So kita akan buang itu carbon dioxide melalui menghembus nafas lah. Alright. So ini contoh dalam manusia lah. This ini adalah absorptions of water by osmosis and mineral ion through active transport. So remember, kalau tumbuhan dia menyerap air, so itu adalah osmosis. So osmosis is passive transport, betul kan? So manakala mineral ion dia tidak boleh pass through melalui passive transport kan? So dia perlu active transport. Okay, need energy lah. So through active transport. So here this is the root hair cell. This is the root hair cell. Okay, so mineral ion absorbed into the hair root cell through active transport. So and then here water diffused by osmosis from the soil, okay, to the root hair cell of plant. Okay, so ini example lah. Example. So we have isotonic, okay, isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic solution. So remember these three, isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic. Okay, ingat tu So we have three types of solution: hypotonic, hypertonic. So remember apa maksud iso, hypo, hyper. So kita tengok. Isotonic ini adalah same as. Okay, same as. Hypotonic ini maksudnya less than. Hypertonic maksudnya more than. Okay, itu maksud dia. Isotonic maksudnya kepekatan antara dua solution itu sama. Hypotonic adalah kepekatan satu larutan itu lebih kurang, less than the another solution. Maksudnya lebih cair lah. Itulah hypotonic. The concentrations of one solution is less than the another solution. Manakala hypertonic, ini pekat lah ni. Pekat Pekat. Hypertonic maksudnya pekat lah. The concentrations of one solution is more than the another solution. Okay, itu maksud dia. So we go to example table point 3.1 showing the isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic solution. Okay, so this one, the first one, isotonic solution. Okay, isotonic solution. So here we have, look at this diagram. We have this is the selectively permeable membrane lah. Di tengah-tengah ini macam kita punya plasma membrane. So dia maksudnya selectively permeable membrane act as the plasma membrane lah. So we have region A and region B here. Region A and region B. Kita tengok region A. Berapa dia punya solute? So yang red ini solute bahan larut solute. Yang biru ini kita anggap dia sebagai water molecule. So kita tengok. Solute dia 2 di sini, sini pun 2. Maksudnya, the solution A and B have the same concentrations of solutions. Same concentrations of solutions. Sama kepekatan A dengan kepekatan B. Okay, so solution A and B are isotonic toward each other. So no net movement of water. So maksudnya the movement of water from A to B and B to A is the same lah. Itu maksudnya no net movement of water. So itu kalau isotonic solution. Faham? Isotonic solution. How about the next one? Hypotonic solution. Okay, hypotonic solution we have the same, but here tengok di A. A dia berapa? Satu sahaja solute. Nampak? Ini B dia ada 1, 2, 3 solute. So mana yang pekat ini? B yang pekat, betul? Sebab dia lebih banyak bahan larut solute dia. So A itu dia cair, betul kan? Kurang dia punya bahan larut. Meaning the concentrations of water in A is higher compared to B. Okay? So what happen is the water will move from high concentrations of water to low concentrations of water through osmosis lah. So water from A will move to B. Okay? So solution A has a low solute concentration and a high water potential. So solution A, kita panggil ini, kita sebut ini sebagai solution A is hypotonic to solution B. Itu maksud dia. Maksudnya solution A lebih cair daripada B, meaning dia tinggi kepekatan air dia, water potential dia tinggi, tetapi solute concentration dia rendah. So the water will move from A to B. Nampak? Satu saja anak panah di sini. Okay, itu hypotonic solution. The third one is hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution we have A and B also, and then di sini selectively permeable membrane. So di sini mana yang pekat ini? Mana yang pekat? A ke B? A kan? So A dia punya solute concentration is higher. 1, 2, 3 solute. Yang ini satu saja. Okay? So solution A has a high solute concentration and low water potential. Okay? So sekarang what happened to water? Water will move from where to where? So water will move from the high concentrations of water to low concentrations of water. Okay? Di sini. Through osmosis. So dia punya movement of water is from B to A lah. So di sini solution A is hypertonic to B. Hypertonic, dia lebih pekat daripada B. Lebih pekat dari segi bahan larut lah. Water diffuses from solution B to A by osmosis. Okay, so remember these three terms: isotonic, hypotonic, hypertonic. The effect of hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic solution on animal and plant cell. Okay? The cell cytoplasm contains solutes such as glucose and mineral salt. The fluid formed in the cell is known as intracellular fluid, and each cell is surrounded by extracellular fluid. Faham itu intra dengan extra? Intracellular fluid di sini adalah fluid inside the cell. Manakala extracellular fluid is the fluid bendalir di luar sel. Okay? Right? So here, effect of hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution to animal cell. Apakah kesan, okay, hypotonic solution terhadap sel haiwan lah. Okay, so now when red blood cells are placed in hypotonic solution, water will diffuse into the cell by osmosis, causing the cell to swell and finally burst. This is because the plasma membrane is too thin to withstand the osmotic pressure built up in the cell. So the burst of red blood cells is known as hemolysis. So remember, apabila red blood cell ini, sel darah merah, dimasukkan ke dalam larutan yang hypotonic. Hypotonic maksudnya cair lah, lebih cair daripada kandungan di dalam red blood cell. So the water from the surrounding or from the hypotonic solution lah kan, so dia akan masuk ke dalam sel darah merah kita ini. So masuk dalam sel darah merah. So what happen? Finally dia akan swell up. And then kita tahu bahwa animal cell dia tiada cell wall. So sebab itu dia akan finally pecahlah, burst. Okay, so ini kita panggil sebagai, condition ini kita panggil sebagai hemolysis, yaitu red blood cell pecah. Okay, what happen if we place the red blood cell now into isotonic solution yang mempunyai kepekatan yang sama dengan red blood cell itu sendiri? So water diffuse into and out of the cell by osmosis at the same rate. Kali ini at the same rate lah. Water moves out from the red blood cell, water moves into the red blood cell at the same rate. So no net movement of water. So sekarang dia punya shape maintain to at normal shape lah. Okay. The third one, effect of hypertonic solution to animal cell. So when we place the red blood cell into the hypertonic solution, maksudnya surround the solution surrounding our red blood cell is more concentrated, lebih pekat, hypertonic. So what happen? The water from our red blood cell will moves out. Okay, moves out to the solution, okay, by osmosis. So what happen to the red blood cell? Dia akan shrink. Okay, shrink, mengecut di sini. So condition ini yang dia mengecut ini, dia mengalami undergo crenation. So remember these two terms, hemolysis and crenation. Hemolysis maksudnya dia pecah, crenation maksudnya dia mengecut di sini. Tapi ini terms untuk animal cell. Okay, remember. How about in plant? Okay, in plant. Tadi itu animal cell. How about in plant? Effect of hypotonic solution in plant. So now, example, we place the plant cell in a hypotonic solution. What happen? Sama macam tadi lah kan? Water will diffuse into the vacuoles of the plant by osmosis. Okay, so now what happened to the vacuole? The vacuole will expand. Okay, and then dia push dia punya cytoplasm and plasma membrane against the cell wall. So difference dia sini ialah the plant cell dia ada cell wall, animal cell tiada cell wall. So what happened? This condition is the cells are turgid, segah. Okay, sebab dia ada cell wall, so dia tidak akan mengalami pemecahan sel, tidak berlaku sebab dia ada cell wall. So sel itu menjadi segah, turgid. Okay, so the plant cell do not burst because dia ada cell wall yang rigid and strong, tegar dan kuat. Okay, the turgor pressure is important to plant because it gives support and maintain the shape of cell. Okay, turgor pressure is dia punya turgidity lah, kesegahan dia. Okay, the cell turgidity causes the guard cell to swell. Remember the guard cell? Guard cell adalah yang control the opening and closing of the stomata. Okay, to allow the stomata to remain open for photosynthesis. So, ini adalah hypotonic solution. How about hypertonic solution? Apa kesan dia terhadap plant cell? When plant cell are placed in hypertonic solution, okay, yang lebih pekat daripada kandungan pendalir di dalam kita punya tumbuhan, water will diffuse out of the vacuole by osmosis. So always remember by osmosis. Sentiasa sebut by osmosis. When you mention water will move in ka, move out ka, always mention by osmosis. Alright? When answering questions, okay? Vacuoles and cytoplasm will shrink, okay, causing the plasma membrane to be pulled away from the cell wall. So now dia akan shrink, and then proses ini kita panggil bukan crenation, okay? Crenation is only for animal cell, okay? Ini condition kita panggil sebagai plasmolysis. Okay? Plasmolysis will cause leaves and stem to bend downwards and wilt, layu. Okay, now plasmolysed plant cell can regain their turgidity if the cells are returned back to a hypotonic solution immediately. Maksudnya kita boleh reverse dia balik. Plant cell yang sudah undergo plasmolysis ini, bila kita masukkan lagi dia balik ke dalam hypotonic solution immediately, dia akan balik kepada bentuk asal dia. Dia akan balik bentuk asal dia. So, proses ini kita panggil sebagai diplasmolysis. How about in isotonic solution? When the shape of plant cell and extracellular solutions are isotonic, water potential is the same. Maksudnya the concentrations of water are the same. Shape di sini adalah the contain or the fluid inside the vacuole of plant cell. The movement of water diffusion in and out of the cell is the same. So here cells become flaccid. Flaccid maksudnya sama lah. Sama. Dia punya what we call the concentration in both fluid itu, in the cell and out of the cell sama. The movement of water pun sama, in and out of the cell. So di sini kita panggil cells is flaccid. Cells of plant. This one is of plant. Flaccid. Alright. Application. We go to applications. What is the applications of this one that you have learned before in our daily life? You have definitely eaten canned pickles, salted fish, and fruits before. Pernah makan kan? Jeruk-jeruk, ikan masin, buah-buah yang diawet, jeruk kan? So, how are the concept of osmosis and diffusion applied in food preservation? Pengawetan makanan. Apa kaitannya, apa aplikasinya yang kita belajar ini dalam food preservation? We go to the first example. Phenomenon of plant wilting. Fenomena tumbuhan yang layu. Excessive use of fertilizer. Penggunaan baja yang berlebihan boleh menyebabkan wilting atau layu lah dalam tumbuhan. Dissolved fertilizer will cause soil water to be hypertonic to the sap cell of roots. Sebab bila kita letak baja yang berlebihan, kemudian baja itu akan larut di dalam kita punya soil water. So what happened to the soil water? The soil water will be hypertonic to the sap cell of roots. Maksudnya the content of soil water itu lebih pekat lah berbanding dengan vacuole cell roots dalam tumbuhan. So what happen next is water will diffuse. Water will diffuse by osmosis. So always remember, mention ini by osmosis. From the root cell sap to the soil. Water will moves out lah, diffuse out by osmosis from the root cell sap of the soil, sap to the soil. And cell will become plasmolized. Cell in plants will recover once they are watered. Bila kita siram dia balik, so dia boleh recover. However, if the period of plasmolysis is prolonged, wilted plants will eventually die. Betul kan? Kalau masih boleh diselamatkan, kita siram dia balik, so dia boleh diselamatkan. Tapi kalau terlalu lama kita biarkan dia dalam keadaan plasmolized, so wilted plant itu, yang layu itu akan matilah. Alright, so this is fresh plant and this is wilted plant. Nampak kan? Okay, the concept of movement of substance across a plasma membrane has many applications in our daily lives. For example, rehydration drinks such as oral rehydration salt. Itu ORS. Tahu ORS kan? Yang air garam itu. Okay, helps to recover loss of water and electrolytes in individual with diarrhea. Selalu kalau kita cirit-birit kan, selalu diberi itu garam, betul kan? Itu adalah ORS, oral rehydration salt. Right? Okay, isotonic drinks helps athletes to recover loss of water and electrolytes such as potassium and sodium through perspiration. So, isotonic drinks pun selalu digunakan oleh para athletes, kan? Okay, and then another one, saline solution normally used in medicine are isotonic solution to the blood plasma. It contains 0.85 to 0.90 gram sodium chloride per 100 ml. Ini tuh yang selalu bila orang pergi hospital, okay, dia kena masuk atau cucuk air garam. Itu selalu sebutkan. Lalu orang sebutkan, oh saya kena masuk garam. Itu sebenarnya saline solution lah. Okay. And then kita ada liposomes are vesicle that contain aqueous solution surrounded by phospholipid bilayer membrane. Liposomes are used to protect drug or active substance taken orally from being destroyed by gastric juices. So this way drugs can reach the target cells. Okay, so ini dalam liposome kita sendiri. Okay. Okay. Reverse osmosis is a technology commonly used to extract fresh water from seawater using the desalination process. In a reverse osmosis equipment, pressure is applied to push the seawater through a semi-permeable membrane. The membrane allows water molecules to pass through it, but not foreign particles, salt, and microorganisms. As a result, only pure fresh water is released. So, maksudnya, the application juga digunakan dalam extractions of fresh water from seawater. So, kita panggil itu sebagai RO, reverse osmosis. Selalu kan kamu cakap, kamu dengar RO water. So, itu adalah reverse osmosis. Okay? This is a technology used to extract fresh water from seawater using desalination process lah. Okay, so dia punya equipment tertentu lah. Okay, equipment khas. So what happen is the pressure is applied to push the seawater through a semi-permeable membrane. So this is the semi-permeable membrane. This is the left hand side, ini adalah salt water. So they use the pressure to push the salt water through the semi-permeable membrane here. Okay, so what happen? We will get di sini right hand side kita dapat fresh water will comes out. So maksudnya selectively permeable, dia hanya select apa? Allow water molecule sahaja to pass through the membrane. Foreign particles yang salt, microorganism semuanya tinggal di sini. So kita result dia kita dapat fresh water. Okay, so itu adalah antara aplikasi juga yang digunakan. Alright. So itu sahaja. So remember dalam bab 3 ini, okay, movement of substance across a plasma membrane, you already learn about the structure of plasma membrane. Okay, fluid mosaic model. Okay, kenapa dia dipanggil fluid mosaic model oleh saintis siapa itu? Singer and Coulson. Okay, plasma membrane dia consists of carrier protein, ada channel protein. Okay, make sure you remember which one is carrier protein, which one is channel protein. And carrier protein dia carry apa, channel protein dia carry apa, paham? And then what is phospholipid bilayer? Phospholipid bilayer tu dia ada head, dia ada tail, betul kan? And then what is glycoprotein, glycolipid and cholesterol serta dia punya function. Okay, concept of movement of substance across a plasma membrane. So we have passive transport and also active transport. So remember, what is the difference between this passive and active transport? Okay, mana satu yang perlu tenaga, mana satu yang tidak perlu tenaga. Okay, and then passive transport we divide again into three, yaitu simple diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusion. So make sure kamu tahu osmosis itu khas untuk water molecule only. Okay, and then movement of substance across a plasma membrane in living organism. Okay, we have passive and active transport in living organism. So we have three terms, solution: isotonic, hypertonic, hypertonic solution. Apa kesan ketiga-tiga solution ini terhadap animal cell and plant cell also? Remember the crenation, the plasmolysis terms. Okay, semua itu. Okay, and then the phenomenon of plant wilting tadi, and then the applications of this one in our daily life, and also the reverse osmosis technology in water purification. Okay, so make sure kamu kuasai bab ini. Okay, alright. So once again, in Proverbs 12 verse 24, work hard and become a leader, be lazy and never succeed. Proverbs 12 verse 24. Alright, thank you.